We will continue with the first presentation. So the objective of this forum is to make you connect, and I did it on purpose to break the ice. Please, you will have professionals, you will have students, you will have investors, you will have entrepreneurs, but we are all passionate about retail, luxury, and fashion. So please connect with people, see them during the coffee breaks, see them during the lunch, and see them also during our Ruinart champagne cocktail. With this, I would like to invite on the stage one of my favorite speakers, Miguel Lobo, who is actually the director of the INSEAD campus in Abu Dhabi. That's what I meant. So Miguel, please, the floor is yours.
Switch to my slides. Yes, thank you.
And please help me to welcome Miguel.
Thank you so much, Katja. Thank you so much, and good morning. Merci beaucoup. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Katja, for the invitation. So I'm here to give a few words. Katja asked me to give a few words to set the tone for the day. So given the theme of the conference, I thought I'd bring in some things as food for thought, things we know from research and from practice. And here's the question. So this is Bukowski and Mozart. They had very different views about what it was that made them creative. Both amazingly creative and productive individuals. Bukowski, of course, as a writer, Mozart as a composer, but very different personalities. Here's the quotes that summarize their view of their own work. Bukowski said, "No one who could ever write worth a damn could ever write in peace. Creation comes from pain, from torture, from the stress that generates the new ideas." Mozart had a very different view of what generated his creativity. He said, "When I am, as it were, completely myself, entirely alone, and of good cheer, it is on such occasions that my ideas flow best and most abundantly." So the question is, who is right? Mozart or Bukowski? What is it that makes us creative? Gilbert, what's your take? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win, Bukowski or Mozart? Sorry? Both of them. So this tells us maybe what kind of company from Nike, what kind of company do you run? So, yeah, because if Bukowski was right, what he says is that in order to be a creative company that generates new ideas, right, what you need to do is make sure that everyone is stressed, that you create a lot of negative emotions in your company so that these new ideas come up. And there's some theory behind this that says, what is creativity? Creativity is how we respond to the need to solve a problem. How do we know we have a problem? Because we feel bad, right? So that's a sound theory. Of course, there's also theory that goes the other way around. When we are stressed, our cognitive focus narrows. We lose the ability to look at new ideas and at new information. We now have an answer to this. There's quite a bit of work, starting with Amabile in 2005. They did extensive work with organizations, with not lab experiments, looking at what people in actual organizations do, people leading R&D processes by doing detailed logs of what they do every day, and having researchers read those logs and triple code them and check for validation and check how did people feel and were they creative. If these were software developers, the question would be, oh, did I find a new clever way of solving this particular problem, or did I find a new way of generating a new fragrance? Some of it was actually with employees in a chemical company. And yes, the news are good. It says there's a very clear relationship between positive emotions and creativity, right? So you can breathe easy that your bosses don't have an incentive to put you in a permanent state of stress as a way of making you more creative. So it's a win for Mozart so far. But then the next question is, okay, so that leads you to be more creative, but creativity is innovation. Is that always a good thing? We're talking today about people, innovation, changes in the paradigm. Is this always a good thing? When you search online for creativity, you find all sorts of things. This is the test from some kid, and the answers are, let's say, creative. It says, what's the main reason for divorce? It's marriage. Where was the Declaration of Independence signed? On the bottom of the page. So the kid gets an F, and then the teacher writes A+ for creativity, right? So creativity is often an euphemism for you are an ignorant fool, you are very creative, right? So creativity, innovation is not always a good thing. Plenty of examples in history. For instance, New Coke. Coca-Cola decided, oh, let's innovate, let's try a new flavor. As I expect most of you know, this did not go well for Coca-Cola. They had to backtrack very quickly, a huge backlash. What people expected from Coca-Cola was the tradition, the reliability, all the emotions that were associated with that very long history, the way it's tied to the idea of the Americana and all of that. The question is, what is innovation? You look at Apple, so it's sort of the paradigmatic company in terms of innovation. Their whole advertising, their whole brand centers around the idea that they are a company that thinks different, that innovates. The funny thing is, you look at how Apple got where it is, it doesn't quite fit with the story that they sell you. For instance, the Mac, which was a revolutionary product, completely transformed how we interact with technology and with computers. Where did it come from? Did it come from inside Apple? No. If you spend some time in Silicon Valley, you will learn very quickly the lore of Xerox PARC, a research center that Xerox had in Palo Alto. And had around 82 or so, Steve Jobs visited PARC and saw the Xerox star, and he was blown away by what he saw. And he went back to Apple, and he rushed to basically to develop the Macintosh, and that's how it came to be. In fact, it went back all the way to 1973. Why didn't Xerox come out with this product? Because the senior management of Xerox thought that, well, computers are for business, and that means numbers, spreadsheets, word processors, pictures, that's for kids, and we don't want our brand associated with these pretty pictures. And so they kept the project on hold on the shelf. And Steve Jobs had the vision to recognize its potential. Another example from Apple is the iPhone, of course, right? So completely transformed, again, the way we interact. For the second time, completely transformed the way we interact with technology. Was it an innovative product? Was there anything in the iPhone that was new? If you look at phones on the market at that point, everything was there. Downloadable apps, touchscreens, everything was there. What is it that was special about the iPhone? Well, if you talk to Apple engineers, all they ever talk about is excellence. We have to be excellent at what we do. Innovation is actually a bit of a dirty word inside Apple, right? So this is their dirty secret, which is inside Apple, innovation is a dirty word. They talk about excellence. You steal ideas, you copy them, and you make them better than anyone else, right? And this is very clear. You talk to Apple engineers, it's so strong. So does that mean that, okay, we should stop innovating and just copy? Well, what about Coca-Cola? Do they just sell one product? Well, that's their flagship, but you look at what Coca-Cola actually does. Coca-Cola Japan sells 850 different beverages. They introduce 100 beverages every year. An enormous amount of, do we call it innovation? I think a better word for it is exploration. Right? Exploration means be willing to try new things. An idea being new, let's be honest, that almost never happens. There are 7 billion people on the planet. You're never going to have, it's very rare that anyone has an idea that's truly new. In Silicon Valley, they say ideas are cheap. It's all about execution. Can you do it well? So it's execution and exploration. Excellence and exploration. So I'll leave you with this final idea. Yes, Happiness makes you creative. Having serenity, having mindfulness and peace of mind will generate stronger cognitive association and new ideas. But you also require a certain drive to execute. Excellence requires a certain drive. So in the end, yes, Mozart was right, but Bukowski also has a point, right? And I will leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Miguel.